Because of this film, video game movie adaptations have a bright future. Let's go. Before we kick off this review, my name is Chris and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it if you hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. This way you'll stay up to date with more fun reviews uploaded weekly. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the sequel to the surprisingly successful movie Sonic the Hedgehog back in 2020. The sequel brings back all of our favorite characters from the original movie, with the addition of two new characters being the iconic Tails and Knuckles. So right off the bat, the story reveals how the evil menacing villain Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, returns to Earth after being stranded on a distant mushroom planet. You already know Robotnik is coming for straight revenge on Sonic and his new family, but this time both Sonic and Robotnik are not alone. We start to see a friendship build between Sonic and Tails while also witnessing an alliance of Robotnik and Knuckles. The purpose of this alliance is to not only have their own personal revenge on Sonic, but to also acquire these Chaos Emeralds, which allow them to be the most powerful beings in the universe. So in the first movie, Sonic was trying to figure out his place on Earth while also wanting a family and establishing his powers. But in this sequel, he's ready to create friendships and also become the true hero who he's meant to be. The character of Sonic the Hedgehog is so iconic from the classic video games created by Sega, and this movie does such a great job at staying true to the source material, such as references to the shows and video games, along with character qualities. Sonic is voiced by the actor Ben Schwartz, and you might recognize him from Parks and Rec or Space Force. Ben does such a great job at having fun with this character, but also sounding truly genuine in his voice. And I'm so happy with who they casted to bring this character to life. Now, Tails is actually played by Colleen Olshanesi. Hopefully I didn't butcher that last name. But she's been voicing Tails since 2014 in video games and cartoons, so her reprising her role in this film brings true authenticity and familiarity to the voice. Her delivery makes Tails sound so lovable as a character. Knuckles is played by Idris Elba, who does a great job at sounding very intimidating with his voice. But also silly, because there are a few scenes where the character has strong lack of humor and understanding of Earth in general, so his deliveries are pretty funny. I wouldn't say I disliked his performance, but his voice in general is so distinct that at times I couldn't stop thinking about the actor himself, like that's Idris speaking. But I guess you could say the same for Ben Schwartz, since his voice is so distinct as well. But for me, I think I'm more of a fan of Idris, or at least I'm more familiar with his previous work, where maybe that's where the difference is for me personally. But the character Knuckles in this movie is outright cool and pretty badass. Every time him and Sonic were fighting, it was just crazy to see how impressive his powers and strength was. Which leads me to bring up the graphics and how amazing the CGI was in this film. Everything from the lighting to the fur textures and even the facial expressions. This is probably the first time that I can actually say that I'm proud of a film studio for putting the fans and source material before profits. Most of the time, these big studios are ran by these executives who don't really know much about the source material, and they just want to make profits and just push whatever is out there, assuming the fans won't notice or care. Because it's a popular brand, it's a lovable brand, they just assume the public will just take it for what it is. I mean, we could forgive, but we could never forget when they were about to put this bum-ass version of Sonic in the first movie.
No! No! No!
As a fan of Sonic in general, I was naturally excited that they were going to create a live-action Sonic movie with a cast that I enjoyed. But I was definitely frustrated with how this Sonic looked, and I guess as a basic fan that I would have just accepted it. But I'm definitely grateful for the countless number of true big fans online who fought for the studio to change the design. I mean, the fans went all out even to create their own versions of Sonic, to show the studios like, hey, this is how it should look. Without the fans, and without the director and studio actually listening to the fans, we wouldn't have this amazing franchise that we have now. The studio actually went through the entire post-production again and redid everything from scratch. And I actually think this cost us several millions of dollars. But in the end, this all paid off, and I hope that this does continue in the future, just in case we ever get another huge initial disappointment. Another thing the studio got right was casting Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. He definitely brings out that 90s crazy humor and energy that we all love to see. I think kids will find him funny in every scene, but as for adults, many jokes could be unnecessary and forced. But I gotta keep in mind that the heart of this film is mainly for family and children. I'm just trying to figure out if and when they're ever gonna have him in that fat suit, this way he looks identical to the character. I also don't mind the weird, awkward, funny relationship between him and his assistant. I think they overdid the latte joke in this movie, but those two still have some decent chemistry. Special shout out to actress Natasha Rothwell, who plays a character in this movie named Rachel. You might know her from the hit HBO series Insecure, and if you know, you know, because she is hilarious and also a brilliant actress. There's a sequence in this movie where she's getting married, but her wedding takes a crazy turn of events and she's literally becoming crazy enraged. You'll be laughing for 10 minutes straight, but although I did love this part in the movie, I did feel they kind of dragged it out a bit, and it would have been a little better if they cut off a few minutes. But still, it was hilarious nonetheless. Very quick shout out to the post-credit scene at the end of the movie, because this has to be one of the best post-credit scenes I've watched in a while. If you're familiar with the world of Sonic and you know the characters, then you're gonna love this clip and be so excited for what's to come. I know my little nephew is gonna go crazy when he sees what they show. Before I wrap up this review, I did want to mention a theme in the movie that was kind of a disappointment for me. Throughout the movie, they do try to balance the story between the human characters and the CGI characters, but it almost felt like two movies in one, because on one hand, you have the epic perfect plot between Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, but then on the other hand, you have random scenes with them interacting with the humans. I know for one sequence I didn't really care for was this one scene where they had this dance battle with the humans. I could see the fun appeal for kids and how silly it was, but something just wasn't clicking for me in that scene. It just felt a little over the top. Then another thing I noticed is that you'll have all this crazy action going on with the CGI characters, but then the human characters, the actors, would not be reacting to match the intensity of the scene. There'll be explosions going on, and you would think they'll be freaking out, screaming, running, but they're kind of just glancing and looking at it. Like, you would assume they would be more frightened and exaggerated. I think a good example of this being done perfect would have to be Shia LaBeouf in the Transformers franchise. But overall, I would have to say that I did have a great time watching this movie, and happy for what they created as a sequel. I feel this story in particular did come off jam-packed and all over the place, even though the story itself and pacing was pretty decent. This movie definitely has more action than the original, but a part of me still has more love for that first movie where we all learned about Sonic. The first movie also does a much better job with balancing the human characters and plot of the story and result of a better film. However, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 does do a great job with their action scenes while also including so many game references such as Eggman's flying machine and the use of Mastering Chaos Emeralds. With also great sound design and overall positive messaging for kids, you definitely leave the theater with nothing but good vibes for the entire family. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you want to see more, just subscribe. If you want notifications for new uploads, hit that bell icon. Also, if you could share this video with your family and friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.